All right, so what is going on, everybody? Apologies right now for my voice. It's kind of coming back, but I have been sick as a dog this entire week. But hey, I guess it's allergy season, or I'm just getting older. Who knows? But anyway, we're gonna get into the review of Kenobi, the third episode. I seen it Wednesday, and it is Friday morning now. So I've been working on a lot of other stuff. By the way, if you're subscribed to me, and you like games, video games and gaming, I have another channel. I'll leave the link in the description. I have a gaming channel. So I've been working on stuff on my gaming channel, and I've been working on more content for this channel as well. But anyway, we're gonna jump right into Kenobi episode 3. And just go ahead. I got the notes that I wrote down. So we start out with, by the way, this is spoiler review. And I got my notes written down. Quite some notes here, but I don't go into full like detail. Anyway, okay, I start out with Obi-Wan is trying to connect with Qui-Gon Jinn. They play some flashbacks of Anakin's voice, and we see Obi-Wan say Anakin. So they start out in the ship. Obi-Wan is kind of like in a meditative position, and he's trying to talk to Qui-Gon. He's calling out Qui-Gon Jinn's name. And as we know in episode 3, Yoda said he was going to teach Obi-Wan how to talk to Qui-Gon, an old friend. How to commune with him, I will teach you. But no avail. So maybe down the road we'll see possibly a return from Qui-Gon's Force Ghost. That could be set up in the later episodes. But anyway, when Obi-Wan says Anakin, they pan to a shot of Darth Vader. Now you have these arms coming down, these robotic arms, and they pull some tubes out of the back of Darth Vader, and he's getting suited up, and he's on Mustafar at his castle, and he goes to his office. I call it his office, or you could say his throne room. This place it looks amazing. Like, when I see this stuff, it's just like, please, I want a Darth Vader series, man. If you're going to give Kenobi 6 episodes, make a series with Darth Vader. It could be 6 episodes. Have him hunting down Jedi. And really show, and we're going to get into that later, because they really showed a lot of Darth Vader's just ferocity and just, man. Okay, so we go to him going to his throne room, and he pulls up Reva on the hologram, right? And he said, she's talking about the Inquisitor, and he's like, the Grand Inquisitor is of no importance. And he's like, I've been watching you. And he knows what she wants. And he'll give her Grand Inquisitor. So we see that Reva wants to become Grand Inquisitor, right? So he says he'll give it to her. So she's seeking this power. But he says if she fails, she won't live to regret it, right? And that's kind of like poetry when it comes to Darth Vader, because as we know, you have failed me for the last time. Back in, what movie was that? Was it Empire? It might have been Empire. But he's like, he chokes, yo, he chokes the guy out from the other side of the freaking, I gotta go back and watch that scene. As a matter of fact, just to make sure I have this right, I'm gonna do a quick little edit. But from what I remember, he goes back and chokes the guy from the other side Like, he's not even in the same place as this guy, and he force chokes him through a freaking monitor. So let me check this real quick. I'll be right back. Yep. So incredible, right? They Darth Vader sitting in his little chair, you know, and they pull up the monitor, and he's like, Lord Vader. They're on a screen, bro, and Darth Vader force chokes this guy to death through a screen. That shows you how powerful he is, right? Which they don't really explain, but we kind of don't really care. I mean, it's Darth Vader, it's the Force, so whatever. But that shows you how powerful he was. So anyway, let me pull this back up for my notes. He tells her, you know, like, if she fails, she won't live to regret it. Anyway, so after that, we pan back to a shot of Obi-Wan on the ship, the trade ship with Leia. He fixes Leia's little droid that I think the guy smashed in the other episode. What was that, like episode 2? He fixes the droid. He gives it to her. She's like, "Oh, you fixed her," and she's like, "Are we there yet or something? Can't you make the ship go faster with the Force?" And he's like, "The Force doesn't work like that." And she's like, "What is the Force like?" And he tells her, he's like, "Have you ever been afraid of the dark?" She's like, "Yeah," and you turn on the light. "How do you feel?" "I feel safe." And he's like, "It's like that, right?" Tells her, like, the Force is like, it makes you feel safe. Kind of explains it a little more, but that was just the gist of it, right? So, and in my mind, as this is happening, I'm like, yo, is this going to be like The Mandalorian? Like, is this whole series just like an escort mission? I mean, because we're on the 3rd episode. This is the 3rd episode. There's only 6 episodes. So, yeah. I mean, it's cool because in A New Hope, she's like, "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope." So she has a relationship with Obi-Wan Kenobi. And eventually, she calls him by Obi-Wan. So maybe he's going to tell her his actual name instead of Ben. So, that's just a little small detail. Anyway, because I'm thinking about all this stuff as we go along. Where are we at now? All right, so they get to this planet, right? It's called Mapuzo or some shit like that. It's a mining system, right? And they're walking, and Obi-Wan he sees like a mirage, a vision of Anakin. You know, he's got the robe on, he's standing there. He turns around. But we know that's not Anakin. We know what happened to Anakin in episode 3. And then after that, they pan to a shot of Reva's walking into, this is a pretty dope scene because there's a ship. You see the Inquisitor ship flying over some water. It goes to another structure that kind of looks like Vader's castle, but it's on a water planet, which I don't know why, but when I seen it, I thought of Camino, but I don't think it's Camino, which is good because I like to have a variety of planets when it comes to Star Wars. I don't want them to keep reusing assets. So I always enjoy when they add in new stuff because the galaxy is so vast. Anyway, we see the Inquisitor ship flying over water. It comes to some kind of castle-like structure. Reva's walking, and we hear this awesome theme. It's kind of like a play on the Imperial March, but it's different. And it just gives me that old school John Williams. It kind of reminds me of the music that used to be in the arcades. There was this one game, I don't know if it was TIE Fighter. There was this one Star Wars game that used to be in the arcades, and it had like that kind of like that music, and this game kind of really fits that. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Reva's going in there. She walks through. You see a bunch of stormtroopers and stuff, and she walks through like this red detector. It's like a metal detector, but it's like red, so maybe it's like a darkside detector. I don't know. She walks through, and she goes into this room. I feel like I gotta sneeze, but She goes into this room, and there's this table, and there's this one chair, big chair. And then you see the two Inquisitors in there. Obviously, the Grand Inquisitor isn't there because she killed him in the previous episode. But she goes in there, and he's like, "That's my seat." He says something like that. She's like, she's telling them to send out the probes. The man-man-man-mans. I call them man-man-man-man because they make that sound. I remember those droids. They used to be in a lot of Star Wars games and just it trips me out. Man. Anyway, she tells them, send out the drones, and they like going back and forth. And she's like, look, Lord Vader put me in charge of the hunt. So send out the drones. She like yells or some shit. He's like, I'm gonna get what I deserve, and so will you. And she's like, they walk on. I hope so. I sure hope so, or something like that. The droids, we shoot the droids out. I don't remember how many it was. It might have been 4. Let me actually look at this real quick. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know what they're called. Droids. I don't even know what they're called. Man. I'm not even gonna, I would actually have to pull up. It doesn't even matter. That's not even important how many droids it was. They shoot the droids out. The droids go looking for Kenobi on different planets. And she knows that he's in a mining system because she tracked the logs of the ship. Anyway, we go back. You see Obi-Wan and Princess Leia. They were supposed to meet somebody at a certain point, and they weren't there. So there's like space truck coming or whatever, and Leia's flagging them down. And it's like, what are you doing? And you know, Leia's stubborn. She's flagging them down, and this fucking guy pulls up, right? He's not even a guy. He's an alien. He looks. When I first saw him, I instantly thought of a naked mole rat. He looks like a naked mole rat, but just with like some alien like tentacles on his face or something for a mouth. But he's got those like mole rat beaver like teeth, little beady eyes. He's all nasty, and he's got on thick clothes, and he's just looking at him. You know, and then he's got this this voice, like, you know, he's got this voice. So Obi-Wan, Leia already made up a lie. They need a ride to go to the port or something. Wherever they were trying to go. I think it was out, something, I forget what it's called. It might have been a port. If it's not, my mistake. They get in there and he's like, oh, so where are you? You know, he's asking them questions like, where are you guys and all this stuff. They tell him they're farmers. They're farmers and they are like visiting family. The details might be a little muddy. But anyway, he's riding. He stops. There's some stormtroopers on the side. I don't remember how many. I want to say maybe 4. But he's like, you need a ride? So stormtroopers get on. And this scene is really tense. I like this scene because, you know, Obi-Wan's sitting there. And I thought he was going to end up using a Jedi mind trick. But that didn't happen, which is also good because, like I said, I don't like the overuse of certain assets. So the stormtroopers get on, and they're looking at him. You know, they got the helmets on, and they're just looking at him. And like, they said they were looking for a Jedi as well when they got on. And they asked him questions. And they got caught in a lie eventually. He's like, you just called her, because he said her name was Luma. And he's like, Leia. And he's like, you just called her Leia. And he's like, that was her mother's name. You know, when I look at her, sometimes I see her mother, her face. And they have this moment where he's looking at Leia. And eventually the stormtroopers get off. And Leia's like, you know, you knew my mother, didn't you? And he's like, wait, what did he say to her when she asked him? I forget what he said to her when she asked him that. I really should have been better prepared for this. Do I even write this down? Blah blah blah. Yeah, okay. So I know she said, you knew my mother, didn't you? And then Obi-Wan starts talking about his family, which was interesting to hear him talk about his family, because we don't really hear anything about that, especially in the films. We first meet Obi-Wan in episode 1, where him and Qui-Gon are going on the Trade Federation ship. Keep your concentration here and now where it belongs. But Master Yoda said to be mindful of the future, but not at the expense of the moment, my young Padawan. Yeah, like, I have all those movies burned into my brain. Like, I've legitly watched each Star Wars film well over 200 times throughout my life. That was just like, I've probably watched it way more than that. Like, I used to get out of school and come home and just watch Star Wars. It's like every day or every other day. I loved it, man. Episode 1, episode 2. And Star Wars has become more personal for me because it reminds me of certain points in my life where certain people who aren't with us anymore were still alive. And, you know, I just remember everything that was going on around that time when certain movies released. But anyway, I digress. I'm getting off topic here. But why did I even bring that up? Because Obi-Wan was talking about his family, and I was like, episode 1, you know, we just meet Kenobi that way. So hearing him said that he remembers that he had a brother, and he remembers his mom a little bit, just flashes really. And that shows you how much, like, it's kind of like similar to what Leia tells Luke in what was that, Return of the Jedi, when he's like, you knew our mother or something like that. You knew your mother. But it's also similar. Well, no, it's also showing how Kenobi kind of embraced the Jedi Order. Like, after he left, he didn't have, like, Anakin, you know. And think about how Anakin grew up. Anakin was a slave on Tatooine. He wanted to go back and free slaves because he knew how messed up that life was. And what did he do in episode 2? He went back for his mom. She died at the hands of Tusken Raiders. He slaughtered them all like animals. Well, not just the men, but the women and the children too. He hates them. But that really was like a push for Anakin to go to losing his mom like that, and then knowing that he's going to lose the love of his life and his unborn child, which he didn't know was twins at the time. Which is another thing. He didn't know it was twins. Anyway, where are we right now? We're talking about Kenobi's family. Okay, so now this fucking naked mole rat dude, he pulls up to a checkpoint, and Kenobi's like, oh nah, what you doing? Where you going at? He's like, oh, I'm just, just a standard checkpoint. And at this point, you could tell, he gets out and he's like, hey, you might want to check these two out, Stormtroopers come up and they tell him to get off, right? And then they say, what did they say? Something protocol 22, 23. One of the numbers, I don't know what it was. And then the droid comes over and he's like, lift up your head. And Kenobi's just standing there with the hood on. And then as soon as the droid scanning his face, Kenobi pulls out a blaster. Which arm was it? Pry, right? Shoots the droid in the eye. Starts shooting stormtroopers, flipping people over and shit. And then I think he gets all of them, and then one stormtrooper comes around the back, and he has Princess Leia, by blaster point. And what happened? He's like, put it down, you know. Kenobi's about to put it down, and then he shoots the stormtrooper. So we after that we pan to the Inquisitors. They inform Vader that Kenobi's on such and such planet, right? So at this point, we know, like, oh snap, Anakin and Darth Vader is about to come to this planet. Anyway, at that point, reinforcements pull up, right? So it's a bunch of stormtroopers and one of those officer-like characters. They pull up on this other thingamajiggy, and they're getting off. And at this point, you know, like, there's no way they're about to get out of this. But the officer in the back, she shoots all the stormtroopers in the back, you know. So she ended up being the person that they were supposed to meet. But, you know, schedules getting muddled about and stuff. So anyway, they're going into town or whatever, and she goes over to this little room to make sure it's clear. There's some dialogue in between, I don't really remember. She goes over, she gives them the signal. I forgot, and Obi-Wan and Leia had a moment there as well, but I kind of forgot what they said. They go over to the room, and there's a droid in there, right? And Leia's trying to talk to the droid, and the lady's like, oh, he can't talk. He's a loader droid, they don't talk. And she's like, what if he has something he wants to say? And, you know, you can tell the droid likes Leia. The chick pulls out a secret wall in the back, and they go in the back room, and there's all these carvings on the wall, all this writing and stuff. And the lady's telling Kenobi, like, a lot of Jedi passed through here. And you see writing on the wall, and Obi-Wan says, Quinlan was here. So that's Quinlan, what was his name? Quinlan Voss? Something like that. I just remember that name from the Clone Wars. When he said that, I was like, oh, it's a Clone Wars character. I'll have to go back because it's been so long since I watched that stuff. But I remember Quinlan having like some kind of paint on his face. And he was just like a really cool Jedi character. And I know that he had a side story with Asajj Ventress. He ended up falling for Asajj Ventress. And I think he actually turned to the dark side for a brief moment at the hands of Dooku. But obviously, he got redeemed, you know, especially if he came through there, because that's after the era of Dooku and all that stuff. And yeah, they say they help a lot of younglings go through there as well. And I kind of like this, you know. It's unfortunate where the series goes down the road, but, you know, that could have set up a lot of stuff, you know, showing that, you know, yeah, Order 66 wiped out a lot of Jedi, but there are still a lot of Jedi and younglings and Force-sensitive people that were still able to get away. So I think that's still a good setup, you know. Then they're in there, boom, boom, boom. Stormtroopers are banging on the door, right? And they come in, they like, we gotta inspect the place. The loader took a while to open the door too. He's just looking. So he go open the door. He's like, hey, I'm talking to you. And the loader just looking at him, and he's got this massive fucking hammer behind his back, the loader droid. And this is a big ass droid. He just looking, and he got this hammer, and you see him like tighten his little droid hand. Like he about to just go off on the stormtroopers. But eventually, you know, they leave, right? Shorty opened up the tunnel. They about to go through, and then you see Obi-Wan like, you know, kind of, that reminded me of when Order 66 happened and Yoda was on Kashyyyk, and he was like, dropped his little cane. It was kind of a very similar thing, right? So at this point, I already knew what was up. But, you know, Obi-Wan runs to the door and he peeks out, and you see Inquisitors, and then you see Darth Vader comes, bro. So, now this part is savage, right? So he tells her, hey, you take Leia and you go. Like, I don't know if he said I'm gonna catch up or whatever. I don't even know if he said that, but he just tells them, look, y'all gotta go. Darth Vader is walking up, and it's sand, but I'm gonna say street. He's walking up the street, bro. He's pulling people out of their shops, bro. These people were in their stores, just like chilling. He's force pulling people out of the shop, fucking snapping people's necks. Like, yo, pull this dude out the shop. He does, like, what? Darth Vader just snaps an innocent civilian's neck with the dark side of the Force. This is a dark version, right? This is a dark version of Darth Vader. Darth Vader, man. Pulling people out of shops. At one point, I don't know if it was a kid. It looked like it was a teenager. Because he definitely killed somebody's pop. No. He snapped it. It looked like it was a teenager. He snapped his neck. Pulling people up the street. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, yo, why is he doing this? But then I realized he's trying to lure Obi-Wan Kenobi out by killing innocent people. Because he knows, you know, that Jedi in Obi-Wan, he's gonna wanna help. So Obi-Wan comes out and he's like at the corner looking, and we see Darth Vader like, you know, that he turns, and you know, they pan to like Obi-Wan at just like, it's like some kind of construction site. I would just say it's a mining site or something, right? He goes there, and then Vader eventually pops up in front of him, and we see the saber like, the red saber on the right side, which is interesting because if I remember correctly, Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do? If I remember correctly, the blue lightsaber ignited on the left. All right, yeah, so we're back. I was definitely correct. So in that scene, Anakin ignites the blue lightsaber on the left side. This scene, we see the red lightsaber come out on the right side. So that was something that I noticed and I thought was pretty cool, showing like the duality of light and dark, the different sides. I'm pretty sure they did that intentionally. So yeah, he ignites the saber and we see Obi-Wan looking around. He runs off. And then this kind of gets like kind of horror movie, like, you know, killer chasing somebody because it's all dark. And he's talking shit to him. He's like, what'd he say? Yeah, he's like, I don't remember exactly what he says. I think he's like, you can't run, Obi-Wan, or something. He's just talking shit to him. And he's like echoing, and it's all dark. Kenobi's all scared. And then he pops out. Yeah. You know, he pops out. And that kind of reminded me of Empire Strikes Back, when Luke is like, and I love how they did this. It's like poetry, right? They're on Bespin, right? And Luke is like going through, you know, and he's fighting Vader, and Vader pops out, and the steam and all that shit happens. So that was like a callback to that. And I say they lock sabers. Vader's getting the upper hand. I remember because he's like, don't. He's like hitting him. But you could tell like Vader's not really trying to kill Obi-Wan. It's like, it's kind of like a big cat just playing with their prey, you know? That's kind of what I was getting a sense of. Like, he obviously probably could have killed Obi-Wan if he wanted to. But he wants to like just play with his food at this point. And obviously there's still a lot of emotion there. Like he harbors a lot of hate. Oh, and there's one part when Kenobi's like, what have you become? And he's like, I am what you made me. I can't do the voice right now because I'm fucking sick, but my whole right nostril is like stuffed, my throat. Anyway, he's like, I am what you made me. And that was kind of like, that cut me deep. Because it's like, Anakin Anakin was always like blaming other people for certain things, you know what I'm saying? It's like, Obi-Wan didn't make you that. Like, you made yourself that, you know? You got manipulated. And you that's the thing. That's what's so tragic about the fall of Anakin to Darth Vader. Like, we understand how and why he got manipulated. But it was just like, sometimes, you know, if he would have just been a little more mature about things, all this stuff probably wouldn't have happened. But, you know, at the end of the day, you know, it happened. It was just like, I am what you made me. And you know that makes Kenobi feel terrible because I have failed you, Anakin. I have failed you. And I remember the last time they saw each other was Anakin, they're at like, there's a bunch of clones and there's a ship. And Anakin and Obi-Wan are talking. And I think Obi-Wan's about to go on a mission. He's about to go to Utapau to get General Grievous. And, you know, that's the last time, and that's kind of symbolic because I think he says goodbye, old friend, or something like that. I have to rewatch that scene, but that's the last time they see each other. Once Kenobi's on Utapau, General Grievous is destroyed, all that stuff transpires with Mace Windu and stuff. Order 66 happens. Blast them. You know, that, I remember when I first seen that in theaters, I literally cried, bro. That music, and the clones just killing the Jedi, and like the blizzard falling, and yo, I was crying, bro, because that was so sad. Because I don't even think I knew about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, at that time, this was like early 2000s, and we knew that somehow Anakin turns into Darth Vader, but we didn't really know, how it happened. So seeing that for the first time was such a shock. Anyway, let's continue. I am what you made me. Anyway, they go further into the mining site. Darth Vader pulls down this cart of like, looks like some kind of crystal or something. And he grabs Obi-Wan with the Force, and he picks Obi-Wan up in the air. Obi-Wan eventually drops his lightsaber, and Darth Vader kneels down and ignites these crystals into flames. And then he's, what do he say? Now you will suffer. He says something like that. And then he pulls Obi-Wan on the ground into the fire. Flames is just woo, 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 and he pulls him into the flames, and Obi-Wan's like, his whole right arm, because he had the Jedi robe on, his whole right arm is getting burned, right? And I said Hayden, Anakin, no, Darth Vader is holding him there with the Force, and this was crazy. When Obi-Wan was screaming, it sounded just like when Anakin was screaming on Mustafar when he was getting burnt. So much that I even thought for a moment that they actually used that sound from episode 3 for that part. But either Ewan McGregor did an amazing job at replicating that screen, or they mixed it together somehow. But to me, it sounded almost identical, just a little different, but it sounded almost identical to the same screen that Anakin did when he was getting burnt on Mustafar. And then the flames go out, right? So I guess the flames just go out. I don't know if Darth Vader put the flames out with the Force or they just went out. And then he tells the stormtroopers, bring him to me, right? And as the stormtroopers walking over, the chick, oh, and I forgot to mention that, the chick and Leia are in the tunnels, and Leia's telling her to go. You have to help him. So she's like, I'll go on ahead. Fast forward. She found the room, she sees the writing, she has a reaction to one of the symbols. It looks like the Jedi symbol. Anyway, she finds the opening. And my thing is, how did this chick get past Reva to get out to where Kenobi was? Maybe there's multiple tunnels. Probably so. Anyway, Reva goes in the tunnel. The chick, so she makes her way to the construction site. As the stormtroopers are walking over to Kenobi, she shoots one of them, right? And then she shoots something in the night flames, puts flames between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan. That big droid comes over. He gets Kenobi. And then we see this amazing shot of just Darth Vader just standing there with the fire. I love the music that was playing at that part. He's standing there with the fire. And then I think he turns around and I don't know if he turns around and walks away. I think he does at some point. But anyway, so that's pretty much almost it. The last thing we have is Reva's in the tunnel. Leia gets to the end of the tunnel, and there's a dead guy on the ground. And Reva's talking to Leia, and Leia runs off, and Reva goes after her. So yeah, it's looking pretty grim for our heroes right now. And that's the end of episode 3 of Kenobi. There's probably a bunch of little stuff that I didn't go over, but I try to just do this off of my memory and my notes, And again, I don't want these videos to be that long. This already is still kind of long. So yeah, I really liked how dark it was. At first, I was kind of upset because, like I mentioned before, it's like, I was upset because it's like, well, we know Obi-Wan and Darth Vader don't really meet until episode 4, again, after such a long time. But, I remember they never really go into the specifics, right? And it's not like, this isn't really a fight so far. It's just like, because you got to think about this as well. When Ben Kenobi is talking, Obi-Wan is talking to Luke, he's like, he's more machine than man now. And he's talking about Vader, right? So he knows. So he knows a little bit more about Vader, right? And Vader, again, he's like, I sense a presence. A presence I haven't felt since, and then he walks away. He didn't say Mustafar. They didn't go into detail, you know what I'm saying? So at some point, we know that obviously they just had their interaction, but at some point, Obi-Wan is going to get away. And then, when he's fighting him in episode 4, he says, you shouldn't have come back, right? So something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. So, like, again, I was a little upset at first and confused about how that was going to happen. But I did mention in the other video, like, I think I mentioned it being like a chase scene or like something like that. This was kind of like a chase scene because, again, it was just a predator playing with its prey. You know what I'm saying? Like, they weren't seriously engaged in combat. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and end this video off because it's already a lot longer than I wanted it to be. Let me know what you guys thought about the episode. I would just say I really liked it. I really like how dark it was as well. And I like that, we're getting some more Clone Wars characters. I'm still worried about the Inquisitor, the Grand Inquisitor, because like I said, we know he was in Rebels. So unless he got a twin brother or something, I'm wondering what they're gonna do with that. Because like, how are you gonna just bring up? The thing I hate is like when companies, they create lore and then they change it. You just keep retconning it or changing. It's like, bro, can you just have a consistent? It's about world building, right? With anything, whether it be video games, movies, or anime. whatever, you know, if you're creating a world and there's a set amount of rules and stuff like that, you can't keep changing it and retconning stuff and just doing whatever you feel like doing. It has to be consistent for it to be believable, you know? I mean, some people don't really care, but to me, it's like, I care about that stuff. I get certain things, but stop, but like when they got rid of a lot of the canon, I don't know, man. It's like you can do what you want on the outskirts, but for the main meat and potatoes of the story, just keep it consistent, bro. They already screwed it up enough. Like, can we just have a little bit of consistency left? Golly. But anyway, if you liked the video, please leave a thumbs up. If you aren't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If you are subscribed to the channel, I want to say thank you very much. And have a great rest of your day or evening, wherever you are in the world. And I will see you back with the next review. Take care.